Yet another fascinating interview for you guys here on the Young Turks. We've got Matt Mills for you guys. He's the chairman of the board, president and chief operating officer of MedX. Now, I hear that's got something to do with marijuana, so I'm interested. We should have been holding this interview, obviously, at 4:20, but we missed our timing a little bit there. Anyway, Matt, good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So you've got products related to marijuana. I'm trying to figure it out. You've got Marijuana Times magazine. I'm trying to figure out how that connects to that thing you've got on the desk over there. So first, tell me what MedX does.
Well, MedX is a research and development firm. Its first focus on research and development is on agriculture and cultivation. A lot of issues in the industry with regards to agriculture and cultivation. There's also
Of the weed.
Medical marijuana,
Okay.
recreational marijuana. We like to refer to it as medical cannabis, and there's a lot of reasons for that because cannabis and marijuana are two different things, and we're trying to merge them together to bring out the high CBD levels in our secondary research. But the first research is in cultivation and solving major problems that are in the industry in Colorado, Oregon, and Washington, and of course, California.
Okay, and where are they growing this stuff? You know, I realized as I'm preparing for this interview, I have no idea where we're growing all this medical and recreational marijuana that's now legal in some of the states. I mean, in the good old days, you grow it in Colombia. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So are we growing it here in the U.S.?
Yeah, actually, there's cultivation going on pretty much everywhere. There's 23 states, or 26 states now, and counting, that have some sort of medical marijuana in position for patients to use. There is cultivation. A lot of it is happening, up north here in California in the outdoor side. There's a lot of, warehouse conversion that has turned into really big cultivation centers, and they're all over the place. You'd be surprised where they are. There's, there's probably some right next to your studio here in this area.
Cool.
Don't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was pot near our studio. Okay, so now I care about your company and I care about the magazine. I also want to talk to you though generally because I'm fascinated by the industry that's arising here. That's half legal, half not legal. So, for example, you say there's a lot of places where they're cultivating in California. California medical marijuana is legal, but federally it's not. So how does the state treat those, what do you call them? Marijuana farms, cannabis farms? What do you call them?
The feds call them marijuana farms. The state calls them medical marijuana farms. Here in California, of course, there's no recreational, positioning here yet in California. In Colorado, you'd be surprised at where they're cultivating as well. It's not in public eye. It's not allowed to be in public eye, and it needs to stay that way. Quite frankly, the last thing we need is children using marijuana. I'm really focused on the medical side of this thing. There's some major breakthroughs happening in the industry, and that's what the Marijuana Times is all about, to really educate people, make sure they recognize where the company is headed and what we can do for the industry. We've got a huge responsibility in our positioning now, where we take the Jobs Act, which allows every American to really get on the ground floor of a company like this with our Regulation A+ Crowdfunding Act. We are the first ones in the United States to have this position. It's a big responsibility, and that has led us to research and development, which has put us in a position with our product Nature Side that you see here. That is one of the only products that's out there that is 100% natural, that is for pesticide usage on marijuana crops. There's crops in Colorado, Oregon, Washington, and soon to be here in California that are going to be, seized and destroyed because they're littered with pesticides. There is a huge problem with pesticides, and the reason it is because people that have been cultivating in the black markets for many, many years have always used pesticides. Now that it's being pulled out into the light, the people that have this cultivation experience are being grabbed by the legal people that are doing it right, and they're finding that the cultivations are still being treated with pesticides. And so we've done a bunch of research. We've got a product here that's on the list of approval in Colorado. There's a recommended list in Oregon and Washington, and our product, because we took the steps to do it right, register it in all the states, get it positioned. Now we've got those recommendations also in Oregon and Washington.
Okay, so let me get back. I'm interested about the pesticides issue as well, because of how different plants are treated and fruits and et cetera. But first on the legal stuff. So could the federal government, let's say Ted Cruz wins, right? Which unfortunately is totally possible, right?
Totally possible.
Can he come in and go, yeah, all those medical marijuana farms you've got in California or even in Colorado where it's recreationally free? No, it's illegal in federal law. I'm going to come raid them and take all of them down. Is that possible?
It's possible, and that's the reason why we've done the things we've done with our company. We are they call it, we do not touch the plant company. So we touch the plant for research and development only. We do not touch the plant in regards to our revenue streams. So we have bank accounts, we're a legitimate company. We supply, remember the gold rush? Picks and shovels were a big thing. We're the picks and shovels of the green rush.
Well, that's smart. That's smart because I've done a story about that, and two sets of people got rich off the gold rush. Not the people who were actually finding the gold. They led a very tough life and usually died young. The guys who sold picks and shovels got rich, and then there was a cottage industry of women who came to marry the guys who became known as gold diggers. Literally, that's where the term comes from. Well, that was savvy on their part, although I wouldn't have gone in that direction. But anyway, so you guys have decided to focus on the legal parts of it. Now, of course, your business is going to be a little bit hurt if they shut down all the farms on a federal level. So it does matter if Republicans or Democrats win on a national level because they have very, very different policies. So now, look, nationally, Democrats and Republicans are usually looking to rob you in the same way. But there are some differences. This is one of the differences. I don't imagine, even Hillary Clinton going to shut down marijuana plants, whereas Republicans could do anything. Okay, now when you get to your product, so why couldn't you use this on all plants? Is this specifically designed for marijuana?
Great question, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing what we're doing. Our crowdfunding positioning is allowing us to gather capital. We have no debt. We've not got a big burn rate, and we are going to practice a mergers and acquisition position as our funding gets finalized. That puts us in a position to really start acquiring businesses. Well, this product right here is also in hospitality, and it's also in pest control. It's got a national footprint in pest control that took almost a year to solidify and get it positioned. And that was because everybody wanted to test it. Everybody wants to test the product. Even when I break out these reports and show, look, this product works for bed bugs in hospitality. Look, this product works for cockroaches, fleas, ticks, ants. I mean, a gamut of insects. It just happens that the product also works for all of the bugs related to marijuana cultivation.
So you're saying it's all natural and it'll help you grow marijuana, but it'll also kill cockroaches, yada yada, in other situations. I got it. But what you said earlier is the far more interesting part to me, honestly. Look at how much marijuana is on the precipice of becoming a very serious business. You've got companies somewhat related to marijuana talking about mergers and acquisitions. Okay, now when that starts happening, that means there's about to be a financial and business explosion around this product. Okay, and so it looks like you guys are on the verge of that. Is this a way to get ready that once it becomes legal everywhere, which we're certainly getting close to? I don't know if it's 2 years, 10 years, but you will win. There is no question about that. The people who want to legalize marijuana are going to win. It's just a matter of time. So is this a way to put your toe in the water, and then when it becomes legal, go, and become the Anheuser-Busch of marijuana?
Actually, our team has spent almost 3 years with our toe in the water. And we're actually more or less wading in water now. I've become, over the last 3 years, an integrated pest management strategist. I'm licensed in the state of California by agriculture, not for marijuana, but for agriculture in general as a pest applicator. My team is also focused on landscaping. We have an actual truck that goes out and takes care of homes. That's where this product started. And we've been building up to a place where we've already got it placed in multiple industries. And now, over the last couple of months, because of our positioning, our re-market stamp of this product, the cultivation world in the marijuana field is coming to us because they don't have a lot of choices. We've got the documentation and everything behind it. The same thing with our CEO. He's a physician. The last 3 years, all of his continuing education that he has to get to keep his license current, he has been taking all the courses that are required, but there's side courses about marijuana that he's been taking. And same with my CFO and our other partners have been attending a lot of financial side meetings to understand the business for the last 2 years. So our toe has been in the water for a while. Again, we're waiting, and now it's a place where we're actually going to start seeing some serious revenue coming from the nature side product for major cultivation. When I say major, there is so much cultivation going on in Colorado. It's farms. It's not, it's not a little cultivation center. It's acres and acres and acres and acres, just like you would see, tomatoes, grapes, strawberries, here in California.
So I'm amused by what you said earlier, that you guys have to kind of hide the farms. I don't mean you guys, you're not the one running the farms, but the people who are. Partly to keep it out of the hands of children and stuff, partly because you see a tomato farm on the side of the road, which in California you see all the time. Nobody's rushing in to steal a couple of tomatoes, right? You'd be all right. You go to Ralph's and buy some, right?
Yeah.
But with marijuana, you got a good product when if people saw it, they'd bum rush it. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, that's one of the reasons why, we're a company that really is focused on oversight and protecting the public and being focused on what marijuana really needs to be used for. I think that we need to slow down in recreational and start really accelerating on the medical side, making it more safe. Right now you can go to a dispensary here in Los Angeles and there's a good chance, there's an 80, 90% chance that what you're getting is littered with pesticides, littered with mold. And these are the things that we're here to try and help correct.
Okay, so you got the hookup for me on the good stuff?
Actually, I do cultivate.
You do? Okay.
Part of my education is to cultivate. I've been doing it now for almost 3 years. I'm not going to say I'm an expert, but I do have it down. I'm cultivating a very high CBD, low THC. We call it Harlequin, and I've crossed it with another high CBD. Called Tsunami, so it's Harley Sue. It's a very, very unique cultivation, and it gives pain relief, and it doesn't.
I'm amused by that. Like the potheads who, and this is a terrible stereotype, totally not true. A lot of people, maybe a majority of people in America at this point, smoke marijuana. But like the guys who just want to lay down on the couch and have a good time, once you get into the topic of marijuana, they'll be like, "Oh, dude, the strands and the science behind it." All of a sudden, they're all like the biggest scientists in the world, etc. So I didn't understand anything you were saying, but they all got it. Okay, they were all like,
that's called couch lock, and there is a type of marijuana that gives you couch lock that makes you go to sleep, and there's a type of marijuana that has a super pain relief side that gives you energy, where it makes you say, "Oh, wow, I've got some pain relief. I want to go take a walk. Let's go take the dog for a walk, or let's get out and do something." Believe it or not, there's two sides to this thing. A lot of people don't know. The people that are smoking constantly, which I think is somewhere in the 50 to 60 percentile of our population, especially here in California, they know. They know what to go and get at the dispensary. Their doctors are telling them. The physicians that are in the industry here in California, I see a lot of good people there. And this is why our physician, our CEO, is really digging in on getting here and being one of those physicians to help guide the industry the right way.
Yeah. So do you have a prescription for medical?
I have to.
Because you got the shoulder and the back.
Yeah, I have to cultivate. You're allowed to have, you're allowed to have 6 flowering plants per person. So in order for me to cultivate, I have things like, I can't sleep very well, so I used to go to sleep. And I have a lot of, I'm 51 years old. I used to be an athlete. There's some things that I have to,
me too, brother.
Have to
I
relieve.
Got the knees, the shoulders. Call me later about the prescription.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, all right. Now, when they legalize everywhere, you're going to run into the issue of you're building this company, the Coors and Anheuser-Busch's of the world are going to turn around and go from, oh, it's unacceptable and dangerous to give us all the market, right? They're going to come in. And if it's not Anheuser-Busch, it's going to be another giant multinational corporation.
Big Pharma.
Big Pharma going from dangerous, you should, oh my God, terrible, you should take the OxyContin instead. That'll make you feel good, right? That's their current position, and they lobby against your industry. But then they'll turn around in a flat second and come in with billions of dollars to try to own the thing. Are you guys prepared for that? Well, what's your battle plan on that?
We're doing this for exactly that reason. You see, if you're educated and you've got a grasp on the market, you become valuable to big pharma, big alcohol, big tobacco. And that's what we're preparing for. That's why the ancillary side of this business with products like this that can go across the sector, and when the regulations do change and become Schedule II, that's what they're waiting for. We'll already be in position. We're going to become valuable to them. There could be acquisitions. They could recognize the work that we've done and say, wow, that work's valuable. You know, the left side is really pushing for us. The right side that you just mentioned will say anything right now to stop us from doing what we're doing. And it's already starting to happen to us. We're already starting to see a little pushback on the right side, you know, making phone calls saying, hey, these guys are bad. It happens all the time. It happens in politics. It happens in big pharma. It happens everywhere. But we're going to weather through it because we know we're on a mission that's going to go somewhere. And it's already starting to go somewhere. It's a really great time for us.
So you mentioned Schedule II there. So right now, marijuana is Schedule I drug. So what's the difference between Schedule I and Schedule II? What ramifications would it have? Let's say Bernie Sanders wins and he goes, Schedule II. That's it.
Here's the big thing. Banking. We will be positioned to be able to open banking up and legitimize the business completely and take it out of the cash position that it's in.
So let's, for the audience, if they don't know the technicalities of this laws, Schedule I means it's among the most dangerous drugs and it has no benefits.
Yes.
And hence you can't do anything with it, right? Schedule II means it could have some benefits and hence you could put money you make from it in a bank and et cetera?
Just like Vicodin, Percocet, it puts it at a level where it can be dispensed properly. We're hoping for cleaning up the act of all the impurities that are in it so that it can be a more pure product and be something where a dispensary is got some oversight. It's dispensing a really good clean product, and instead of taking cash and having huge amounts of cash, it's absolutely unbelievable how much cash these dispensaries have, and they don't have anywhere to put it. They have to go.
That's a good business to have.
Yeah, I mean,
I got all this cash. I don't know where to put it, man. Now I got a problem.
In the bank. I mean, that's
oh,
scary.
I see. You can't put it in the bank because you got it from a Schedule I drug.
No safe deposit box. No banking
that's
whatsoever.
going to lead to a tremendous amount of robberies.
Oh, it's already happening.
Yeah, I know. It's happening in California. So, is Schedule I, Schedule II? Is that an executive decision? Can the president just move it on his own, or do they have to pass a law?
Last year, I believe, it was handed to Congress to make the decision. Nobody can really tell what's going to go on. I mean, Hillary Clinton did say in one of her interviews that that's one of the things that she's going to do. I know Bernie Sanders is very focused on it. And I think even on the right side, I know Cruz isn't for it. Not sure how Trump is kind of seeing the money factor.
Well, I'll look into that more. My understanding was that you can do an executive order that just moves it from Schedule I to Schedule II drug without needing Congress, just because that is how you classify drugs in order to be able to fight them is an executive. It's within the purview of the executive department, right? The executive branch. So I believe, but I'll double check on that. But so the reason I bring that up is because the fact that it's a Schedule I is unconscionable for a number of reasons, especially if you're a Democrat. Number one, it says that it has no medical value or whatsoever, which is just flat out not true. It's not factual. You can talk about its downsides, and we've done a couple of stories about downsides, right? But we've also been swamped with stories from scientific journals about all the upsides. So the claim that it has no upsides, it's just not factual. It's a lie. It's a flat-out lie that the American government has agreed upon, which is outrageous, right? And number two, as you say, and that's why I mentioned the Democrats, if it's Schedule 2, you can regulate it better instead of having all the crap that's in it now, et cetera. If you're a Democrat, you believe that the government has a role to play in regulating food, drugs. Hey, look at that. And this would fall under that category. And especially if you're President Obama, who has admitted that he used to smoke pot when he was younger, right, and got away with it and became president anyway, for him to keep it as a Schedule 1 drug, saying that it has no benefits whatsoever and it should be the highest level of drugs that we go after, it's preposterous. It's unconscionable. So, but yet I'm told that he was for change. I don't know. Anyway, that's my gripe with Obama. But it is clear that if you have someone like Bernie Sanders, and I think he's the only candidate who's said clearly that he'll move it. Again, I'll double check on that. I'm not positive. That problem could be fixed in a day.
Yeah, Obama is really good at executive decisions. He's practiced that throughout his presidency. He did bring us the Jobs Act. He paved the way for medical marijuana to be where it is today. I've not been an Obama fan. I sat in the right for a long time, and I'm slowly moving to the left just because of the way things are working with our economy. This Jobs Act is huge. We have a responsibility now as a company, and we're going to see a great deal of financing coming into our company, not only to think of acquisitions and mergers to make all our investors happy, but we're going to get the chance to build a whole bunch of jobs. And I believe that Schedule 2 is coming. That's why we're doing what we're doing. That's why I've become so adverse at cultivation, because I do see in the future when it does move to Schedule 2, and we will be able to have bank accounts and be certified and follow all the rules and regulations that the oversight brings in and be a big cultivator. And this is where we become valuable to big pharma, big alcohol, big tobacco. The right side I'm a little scared of, and that's kind of the reason why we've set our business up like we have. I see change coming. I see it coming. I don't think anybody's going to refuse it. There is absolute, not only just proof, there is report after report after report of people having a whole different life because they're now off of things like Percocet, Vicodin, PTSD drugs, your stress drugs, your Xanax. I mean, there's all kinds of things that marijuana is a lot safer than these other drugs that are killing your internals. And the way we're focused is to bring things to the plate that isn't smoking marijuana. We're in the background.
Edibles, right?
Yeah, well,
No.
not so much edibles, supplements. Things you can take that don't hurt your lungs, that you can take that are high levels of CBD, low levels of THC. Myself personally, I'm 51 years old. I don't like to have anything around me that's a high THC level. It makes me couch lock, it makes me unproductive. I want something I can barely feel that gives me the pain relief. And there's a lot of people that feel the same way. What it does for elderly patients. I know a woman who's had a stroke recently that nothing was working. We're using a CBD oil under her tongue, and she is transformed compared to where she was. Children, there was a keynote speaker in San Francisco this last weekend at the Marijuana Investor Summit. She was the girl that you saw on TV that was, you saw it on CNN. She was the one having seizures every day. They moved her to Colorado. Now she's using this really high CBD, very, very low THC, where, I mean, she's not even getting, she's not getting any euphoric properties from it. And she's having a seizure once a year. What does that tell you? We've got something that has to be done. We're going to stick together, and we're going to do it together. It's going to take the whole village.
Okay, yeah, including some dudes growing some stuff in the village, and I like all these letters. I'm on the THC side. Like, don't take all the euphoria out. Okay.
Yeah, no,
okay,
I agree.
All right, I'm with THC and OPP, I think. Okay, just kidding, honey. Okay, all right. So last thing is Marijuana Times. So what are you guys up to there? What does that cover? And how long has it been in business? Tell me about that.
Well, the Marijuana Times was a concept that we came up with as a group to shed light on the positive side of the marijuana business. It's a place where people can read about the medical side of things, the legislative side of things, the culture of things, the strains of things, just an education process to bring the stigma out of the shadow and bring it out and educate people so that they understand what marijuana really is. Because, you know, if you go back east right now and you go to places like Philly or Boston or, you know, not DC, DC's coming out of it, but you go to these places where, you know, it's still very, oh my gosh, marijuana, it's like, you know, they're not like here in California, they're not like Washington and Oregon, it's a very different place, and they're so behind on it. You know, people that are cultivating in some of the new areas, you walk into the cultivation, you go, wow, this isn't like California at all. They just don't have the science down yet. It's gonna come.
Yeah, those knuckleheads on the East Coast, they're always slow. Okay, so Marijuana Times is all about that. When did you guys start it?
It's been alive for about 6 months, and we've been testing traffic patterns. We turned a big test up over the last 10 days or so, and have seen, you know, almost 400,000 eyeballs hit it.
So is it just on the web, or is there?
It's just on the web, just on the digital media platform.
Okay.
And we're in the background right now building a bigger platform, because there's no place for good marijuana companies, ancillary product companies that surround marijuana to advertise. You can't advertise on Facebook. You can't advertise on all the big, you know, social networks. They just don't allow it. They allow you to post, but they don't allow you to advertise. Some of the social networks are actually cutting out content altogether, and it's again, you know, Schedule 1. You know, it's a no-no. It's still federally, you know, illegal. So this is why, you know, we're seeing all this. But we've got a platform, belongs to us, and we've got a way to drive traffic, and we've got a way to bring eyeballs to the good companies that are doing things the right way. And that's our plan, to turn it into a network that's like, imagine the big news networks. We all know their names. I'm not going to mention them. But imagine a big news network, like the big ones that are in place, marijuanaized. In a good way.
What does that mean?
That means video content.
David Muir's like high on air, or what do you mean marijuana?
No, not anything like that. You know, we
That'd
don't.
be kind of cool.
Yeah, well,
Wolf high,
you know,
can you imagine?
It's not Cheech and Chong. It's really focused on bringing good things to light in the industry. Right now, we look at this thing as a medical focus, a legislative focus, to bring the public aware to all the good, positive things that are going around in the marijuana industry. So the Marijuana Times will give places and will give people a place to look, and the place to look is where good companies are going to want to be. So we're going to put together a very low-cost advertising program for companies to come in and be able to advertise, so they can shed light on the things that they're doing in the industry to bring people that want to be a part of this to them.
All right, sounds good. Matt Mills, everybody. Check out Marijuana Times. Check out MedX. Thanks for joining us on the Young Turks. Appreciate it.